we're doing this and where it will lead to, I think if you did nothing else but got all of your managers and supervisors to become better and better at this, you would have a much bigger impact on the results of your business or your organization than in many of the other sophisticated methods that we can use to try and make performance high. So that's an area of focus, because people relate directly to their managers, and the managers have most day-to-day contact with more people in the organization than anybody else. And then this lining up with the values of the organization is also important. So it's very important that you communicate what your organization is for and about. And that needs to be more than a mission statement. If you're saying that you're going to provide, for instance, public services which are caring and which take the time to solve problems for people, it really is important that that's also the way you treat problems and situations inside your own company as well. Because if there's a contradiction or a conflict between those two things, then I feel your employees won't believe you and they won't believe in the job that they're doing. So again, we're looking at an ideal, but if we could get to the max cubed situation, and this is what your policies and your strategies are working towards, you're looking for people who like their work, who feel they're working for a company that does something important that they value, and that what they do every day actually has an impact. It matters. If they're not there, something good wouldn't happen. And this is very much an ideal, and nobody, even a very highly engaged employee, feels like this every day. But we all know from successful projects, great openings, new businesses, that when you see people who are working like this, the atmosphere in the company and the results are very different to a company where people have been just doing the same thing at a very routine kind of level for a long time. And the world is so fast now, and things are changing so quickly, and people's education is pushing us to change things so much. Working more like this is actually the only way to keep employees doing a good job and not waste the resources of having them around. Some people may say, cynically, why bother with all of this? You do this, you have good benefits, you pay high salaries, you do other nice things, you communicate, and still employees leave. Well, this is true, but we're in a big society, and as people go, people also come. And the important thing is that if people go to better things, you have helped in that process, but also you're not leaving yourself stuck for other people who are very interested in moving forward and developing themselves and delivering that work. What do employees care about then? These are the things. So I won't just go through this list. You can see for yourself that it's not just inside the company, it's also outside the company itself. So where do they fit in a bigger purpose of doing positive things or good things? Of course, what comes up in every survey that you'll do is, I'm not paid enough. So don't be distracted by that. Some people will separate out their questions about pay and benefits from all the other things like this which are important to employees, because it's the one opportunity people probably get to say something personally about their pay. That's to, not just to their immediate supervisor. So although that's important, it's important to also remember people stay and work well for lots of other different reasons and will accept maybe not the best pay if everything else about the company and what it does and how they play their role in it is really fulfilling. So you need to pay them enough, but that you won't keep people by paying them. Sorry to use an example from outside of this country, but it's interesting now as we look at the region. I'm sure you see it here in the country. I've seen it in other countries. I've been fortunate to work in most of the GCC and near Middle East countries for one reason or another. And I've been in the region since 1993. And I can personally see and have participated in many huge changes in the way people think about working, in the kinds of businesses and organizations that we have, and also in the way individuals work in companies. So I can see there are people, I'm sure there are equivalent people in Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find an example myself from here, from my own knowledge, who also realize that this change because it's moving through experience and traditions, actually it's one of the threats to moving fast enough and engaging enough people in a very large workforce in good, productive, interesting jobs. Is the whole environment maybe from before this last 10 years of change. So it's worth thinking about that there may be some cultural issues which make it not that sensible simply to adopt international methodologies that have been developed somewhere else with different types of employees, with a different culture. And I'm sure already you think this, that you need to find the right things that appeal to human beings, but package them or emphasize them in the right way for people from this culture, with the problems and the changes that are important here. Some of these things can be difficult across many cultures, but these are generally recognized as a very short summary of, again, an ideal situation, where people understand what's going on, people trust each other, they know it's not just about one star, it's also not just about nobody taking the initiative. It's a combination between good individuals and good teams, and as many people as possible having as much interest in the work as can be achieved. And they also want to know that you care about them and that they can take care of each other. Just to give you a flavor of how these things can be different in different cultures, you might find that somebody would come and say, one of the best working environments in the world is a company like Google. We all know what Google is and what it does, and it has lots of geeky, highly technical people, lots of highly commercial people as well, working in a very unusual environment. They cycle around the office and they have a gym and can play basketball anytime. They can come into work at 3 a.m. in the morning if they want to and work solid for 3 days and then go home. Okay, and then go home and not come back for 3 days if they've achieved something. But even in the United States, where Google's situated, as you know, that's very unusual. That wouldn't be the kind of thing that most companies in the rest of the US either could or would want to implement. So these models can be dangerous if somebody comes and tries to sell you something and says, this is the way to do it, this will make your employees engaged, this will increase your bottom line. I know as mature managers, we're all skeptical of almost everything, but it is possible that these things can be convincing in very subtle ways, and I think you need to make sure you develop a good expertise inside your own companies, understanding exactly what will work, and not just staying with the lowest possible achievement as well. There are some risks involved in learning about this, but I think they're worthwhile because I'll come back to this point again and again. Every human being, regardless of where they come from, probably has the same feelings and the same aspirations. How they can express those or how ready the company is to help those have a positive result, that's what we're working with. That's the space. And it's different in different cultures. Just absorbing some of these comments, no need for me to go through them. The ones in red are comments which are, less than thrilled with companies who are on the Fortune 100 list in that particular year. And if you absorb, when you get a chance to look at the presentation later, when you take it away, some of the points that we've made about things that switch people on and switch people off become quite evident in these comments. Smaller companies do better, perhaps. Turnover, even when benefits are good. Companies with a very prestigious, very glossy exterior, which maybe inside are not such great places to work. How much waste is going on there in trying to get good results, when in fact you need to change the way the company works to get those results? And in the green comments are comments where employees actually do feel that that company deserves to be on the Fortune 100 list. Interestingly, the first one, what the customers are getting, what the external world sees, is how the person feels inside the organization. And I don't get paid enough, but I really like the company because of the way it feels inside and how important I feel to what it does.